What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of A King's Journal. It is your boy, Martell Fletcher, and this is going to be a fairly quick episode. Well, y'all know what happens when I say that, but I do have somewhere to be soon. But what this episode is specifically for those people who have been trying to help others, those entrepreneurs out there who have been trying to help a friend, a family member, a coworker, whoever, or just the people who are working somewhere and have been trying to help somebody, but they don't seem like they're getting anywhere, right? I was recently in Jamaica. Not too long ago, I had took a trip with my lady, Aisha, and we took a trip to Jamaica. We were going to a wedding, and this is the first time that I can honestly say I was in a third world country. Like that, I was somewhere and I could see it. Like you could actually see that this is not the life that they was living is different from life in your hometown. And so in Jamaica, and she's from Jamaica. So for those that don't know, she's Jamaican. So she was born and raised in this area and then moved over to the United States. So when we went, we weren't going to the tourist spots. We weren't going to just hang out on the beach in the tourist area where they've got, all this catered stuff for people who are from the U.S. and have come over for X, Y, and Z. No, we was in the streets. We went downtown. We went to her old high schools. We went to her old house where she used to live, where she grew up, the streets that she would walk down, the places that she would hang out as a kid, the stores that she would go to, the hustlers on the street that she would buy stuff from. We went and saw all of this. And now Jamaica has a lot of beautiful places in it. I mean, the tourist spots are filled with just beautiful scenes, beautiful scenery. There was one resort that I'm like, yo, if I was going to come back, I mean, we could still do everything, but if when we come back, we definitely got to stay here. We got to stay at this place because this is nice. Like, we can go into the streets and, go see all the people, but this is really dope. But we was out seeing what people were really living like in the area. And again, when I say third world, it's third world. It's third world. But there was a lot of differences between living in the United States and then living here. But there was a few common threads that I want to talk about today that I think emphasize what I'm about to explain. And so pretty much the point is that everybody won't be helped, and it's because of one particular thing. Now, in my time in Jamaica, one thing that I definitely noticed is that there was a lot of people selling stuff. There was a lot of hustlers. There was a lot of business. There was a lot of entrepreneurs. Everybody had their thing that they did, like whether it was cooking, whether you had a shipping spot, whether you had like an excursion business, or maybe you were selling lobster on the side of the road. Maybe you were selling soup. But everybody had their thing, and when they had their thing, they stuck to it. And the thing that they stuck to typically paid for, I would assume, everything that they needed in their life. And so, but from the surface, looking at it from my eyes, coming from the United States, going over there, one thing that I noticed was that, the way that they were living their day-to-day life and the scenery, the environment that we were in, is not nearly as polished as what we're used to here. Not nearly as polished. I'm talking about like when you go downtown, say you go to Farmington, say you go to Bloomfield, say you go to, let's say Novi, say you go to Roseville, Warren, Southfield, whatever, the place just looks more put together. It looks like people doing stuff. It looks like business is happening. It looks like, people are living relatively well. And our people who, our baseline is way more comfortable than what theirs is over there. And so what I would see is like, you might have someone who looks like a business person. They've got a suit on or whatever, and they look real nice and cleaned up. And then right next to them will be somebody who's talking to themselves. Their hair is all kind of crazy. They got this side is kind of cut, this side is backwards, this side is forwards, and it's like scaled a little bit because it's hard somehow. And then their shirt is halfway off, and then they walking down the street, and they stand at the same stop sign that the other person is standing at. And there was also, of course, you're going to run into those people who going to try to sell you some weed and all this other stuff. But what I realized when we were hanging out, we went and hung out with some of our friends. And what I realized was, like, although the environment didn't look like as polished, you still have the people who have like a mindset or a mentality that didn't reflect the environment that they were in. And so, although there might be a lot of people who are living under conditions that we would see as kind of definitely a low income situation, and also probably we would perceive it as more tough, harsh. Like, you actually have to go out and do stuff every single day just to have something to eat, something to wear, something to do. Like, you might just be living on the street because there's just no other option for you. And that's more of the norm there than I would say here in Michigan. But the thing is, even amongst those people, you would also see them smile. You would also sometimes you see them talking to somebody else. You see them having a good time. They would be out just like everybody else is out. Everybody's just trying to figure it out or sell their thing or sell their soup or whatever. But everybody has figured out a way to get to a point where they are comfortable in living. They're comfortable with the life that they live, so that they can just stay there and be content with it throughout. We went downtown, and there's a guy, she calls him Soupy. And Soupy, he was selling soup from the same location in downtown Montego Bay back when she was there maybe 15 years ago. And he's still selling the same thing in the same spot today. Maybe he's got a few more shops, but the thing is, he's still in the same area. He hasn't done nothing different. He's still the guy who you roll down your window, you say, "Hey, Soupy." He runs over to the car. You say, "Hey, I just need X, Y, and Z." He'll go fix it up, bring it to you. You have to, probably because traffic is crazy. People, I mean, we won't get to the driving, but it's bad. You're going to have to go around the street so you're not holding up traffic to come back to him, pay him, and get your soup. That's what I'm talking about. And the reason that I bring that story up is because one thing a term that I just recently learned about, it's called hedonic adaptation. And what hedonic adaptation is, it's pretty much, So hedonic adaptation, it's also called the hedonic treadmill, also known as the hedonic adaptation, is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. What this pretty much means is that when someone, whether something amazing happens or something terrible happens, they get to a baseline of happiness. They get to a baseline of comfortability, contentment. That doesn't matter if you hit the lottery, win $1 million, or if you file for bankruptcy and lose it all. Either way, the human tendency is to get back to a baseline state of happiness. So if something great happens, you'll find a way to get back to normal. If something terrible happens, you find a way to get back to normal. You win $1 million, okay, you'll start, most likely what people do is they start spending more, and then they get into a new house, new car, they got new people around them, X, Y, and Z, and then they are back to a solid baseline of happiness where they just are living life again. They're not on this super high anymore, they're just kind of living life. Or you go to that, like, I just lost my house, I just got divorced, everything is going wrong, I lost my job, whatever, all this stuff, bad stuff. Maybe you're homeless now at this point, and then you get back to a baseline of, all right. For some people, they get to being homeless still. They get to a baseline of, I'm okay with the life that I get to live. Perfect example of this, I was just watching a news report from Tampa Bay, Florida, where there's a homeless guy on the side of the road, and he came up to a man's car, and he was asking him for money because he was homeless. He had to sign up and everything. The man said, "I'll do you one better. I will give you. I actually own a landscaping company, and you can come work for me. All you got to do is pick up some tools. I don't live too far from here. You pick up some tools. I'll give you a job, and I can just pay you as an employee for me. You don't need to send any resume. I don't need your references. Just come work for me, and I'm gonna give you a job. The homeless man was upset, started cursing at the guy. He was saying all kinds of crazy stuff to the man because the dude offered him a job instead of giving him some money. How crazy is that? Think about this. Homeless person comes up to your car. You're like, oh man, I wish, I want to do something for you. Actually, I run a business. I'm going to give you a job so that you can actually make a regular and a stable income so that you can find somewhere to live, have clothes, have food, and live a normal life like, everybody else driving down the street. But the homeless man says to you, F that and F you, how dare you give me a job? I just need some money because I'm hungry. What is wrong with you? How stupid are you? And how stupid do you think I am to accept some stupid job and have me working when I just need some money? Are you crazy or are you dumb? This is the state, this is the kind of condition people are living in today. And it's called hedonic adaptation. Now, putting it into the context of business entrepreneurship and the context of the kingdom, I think because this is the natural human tendency, I'm sure that most of us have come. Actually, all of us have figured this thing out. If you're listening to this, you are at a state of, you're probably at your baseline right now. You are okay enough with the life that you're living to even be listening to this podcast. Now, some of us, we have different goals, ambitions. We have different dreams that we want to achieve and accomplish. And we have these ideas of the life that we would like to live. But a lot of us aren't actually moving or taking enough action on those goals, on those dreams, because we are so comfortable at our baseline of happiness. We don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to 4 a.m. to go do extra work. We don't want to stay out later to go figure X, Y, and Z out, build this relationship. I don't want to read 5 more books or read another book every single day to learn this different thing that's actually going to get me to that point. I'm okay with being busy now, putting this thing off because I'm okay with the life that I live. Which, to a certain extent, it's definitely okay. If you are living a life that you are completely happy with and satisfied with, that's fine. But don't say that you want more. Don't say that there's no point in making goals to do something different if you're not going to do anything different to actually achieve them. And it's this weird thing, like I said, the comparison between Jamaica and here, those people have figured it out. If you put someone who's been living here in the U.S. for their entire life and they are living very much comfortably, say they're middle class, and you plop them over in Jamaica, they would be pissed off. They would throw a fit. They would be absolutely they would be absolutely horrified with the life that they have to live at that point because it is so much different. The baseline is at a different point there versus here. The difference between the people who achieve really high and stay at that point and the people who don't is that they've raised their baseline. If I'm no longer okay with the minimum wage job that I have, then I'm going to do something different. If I am no longer okay with the results that I'm getting in my relationship, then I'm going to do something about it. If I am no longer okay with the people that I'm hanging around, I'm going to do something about it. Now, this isn't me telling you that you just need to be discontented and just unhappy with life, but I am saying that if you want more, then it's going to require different actions to achieve different results. And that's just the way we live, because when you don't, the thing called hedonic adaptation will take place. You'll find a way to get comfortable. It's just natural. We are comfortable creatures. We like to get comfortable and we like to stay at a place of normacy. But in this life, if you believe that you have a purpose, that is not what you've done so far, and you might be building it, but it's not at the point where you believe it can go or it should go, then being comfortable, I call it what is it? Being ambitiously content, ambition, something like that. One of those two things, but it's pretty much the state of I'm happy with the things, I'm grateful for the things around me, but I won't stay here. For me, and I think everybody at a certain level has a need for growth. Everybody at a certain level has a need for growth. Some people are okay with growing. Maybe they just read a book a month and they feel like they are learning because every month they put another book on the shelf and say, I read this, I understand it, and now I live this life of continuous learning because I put a book away every single month. Okay, you figured your way out. But there's those other people who it's like, I've got this massive goal, and the life that I live now, I'm grateful for it. I'm happy that I was able to do it, but there's no way that I can keep living here doing these things and get there. And so these are the people who are going to wake up really early in the morning. These are the people who are going to stay up late. These are the people who are going to not just use their free time for pleasure, but they're going to use their free time to work, to get things done, to actually achieve something different from what they're used to. And so, like I said, I'm not going to make this episode super long, but I just want everybody to put things into perspective. If you feel like you're at a place where your baseline is not the picture of the life that you would like to live, then what are you going to do about it? If you feel like something terrible has happened or something great has happened, just know that you'll get back to normal. But what is that normal going to be? And is that normal going to get you to the place that you believe that you should be? Because even a homeless person can figure out a way to just stay homeless. It's their decision. They figured out that if I get a couple, I'm in a city where the people are generous enough to give me $50 a day. I can go get something to eat, and I've got a tent that's set up under a bridge, so where I'm not getting rained on and the weather isn't that bad in this area, so I can just stay homeless. What's your baseline? Are you okay with it? Is it status? Is this, if life was never changed, if life never changed and it was exactly this way for the rest of your life, are you okay with that? Would you have done everything that you believe you're called to do? Would you have affected the people that you feel like you have been called to affect? Are you doing things that you're actually happy doing, like that you're passionate about doing? Or are you just doing something because, it's okay for right now and it pays the bills and it takes care of XYZ, and doing anything else would be too risky, too scary. There'd be too much anxiety going for something different. So I'm going to just stay here, and that's why I do X, Y, and Z. Do you wake up in the morning intentionally because you have a purpose for each day, or are you just waking up because it's the natural thing to do? Everybody's got a baseline. Where's yours? Thank you for listening to this episode of A King's Journal, and I hope that you will tune in soon. Peace.